left the Royal College of Art in the 1960s, and since that time I've worked as a design consultant specialising in colours, finishes, graphics, pattern and decoration, anything which needs an interesting surface or finish to it to sell it. In 2009 I retired from that business and decided that I'd go back to my roots, which was to become a fine artist. So as I'm now in my early 70s, I've called myself third age artist, a career for the third age. I worked with a wide range of manufacturing industries, from the automotive side, colours and finishes, interior trim, to sports goods, tennis rackets, squash, golf bags. I lectured to retailers, manufacturers and marketeers on the subject of colour, both the science and the emotion, how it can attract and how it can be used to your advantage if you're trying to sell to the consumer. And of course I brought a lot of that knowledge of colour and how it affects you into my own fine art and craft work. For one major client involved in the automotive industry, we developed a programme of showing how new colours and effects and finishes. So we worked with technicians and explored all sorts of finishes, metallics, pearlescence, holographic. All were, if you like, a vision of the future. So in order to illustrate the colours and effects, we used plates and latterly three-dimensional shape forms, which were made by vacuum forming plastics. And some of these forms I brought through into my own personal artwork, and I'm using that technique to create three-dimensional paintings. Because I travelled extensively internationally, visiting development facilities and technical centres, obviously you have a lot of spare time as well. So you're not only looking at new operations, new processes, meeting people who are involved in other technologies, but you also have time to look at what they're doing. And that obviously gives you the idea that everything I do I can question, and any processes which come through from that curiosity is useful for me. Wherever I go I carry a small book around with me, recording ideas. Invariably I start with the small ideas and then work up to a fuller piece, large size. And so there's a process of analysing what you want to do and how you want to do it. It's very important to me, the whole craft process. So I don't give this to anyone else to do. I do it all myself from start to finish. Most of my works have got a geographic locational start. They are of a place in a particular time. But what I like to do is overlay another mood or sensation onto the image to create my world, the world of fantasy or dream, something which departs from the norm, the everyday situation. I'm aiming towards having an exhibition in May, I'm hoping, of 2014, and this will be a sort of statement of intent. It is a serious full-time career for me, this third age as a fine artist, so I'm not playing at it. I do it as an occupation. That's the way I've always worked. Professionally, I've always been fairly driven to be successful, get new clients, to make a difference in the marketplace. But I, as a third age artist, I'm committed to working and developing ideas, because in truth, it's a bit like breathing for me. I don't really know what would happen if I stopped, and I don't really want to stop. And I think for the third age, you should keep going. It's a very bad idea to relax back and say, well, that's me finished. I'm quite the reverse. I think, well, I'm going to make a difference during this period. So that's really what drives me.